Do you believe that you can interrupt the Lord? He was on his way to raise a little girl from death to life. He was going to Capernaum, where he was going to go to the home of Jairus, who was an official in the synagogue there. And Jairus had sent for Jesus, said, my little girl is dying. She's dying. Chapter 5 of Mark. Verse 22 and following that. Jairus came and seeing Jesus, he fell at his feet and pleaded earnestly with him. Because his little girl was dying. So Jesus is on his way to bring about a miracle of healing and a restoring to life again of a little girl. And while he is going, a great crowd goes with him. Verse 24, so Jesus went with him, and a great crowd followed and pressed around him. And a woman was there who had been the subject of bleeding for 12 years. She had suffered a great deal under the care of many doctors, and had spent all that she had. But instead of getting better, she got worse. When she heard about Jesus, she came up behind him in the crowd, touched his cloak, the hem of his garments, I believe King James says. Because she thought within herself, she's thinking this, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. Immediately, her bleeding stopped, and she felt inside her body, and she was freed from her suffering. At once Jesus realized that power had gone out from him. King James Version says virtue had gone out from him. And he turned around to the crowd and said, who touched my clothes? Well, you see the people crowding against you, his disciples answered. And yet you ask, who touched me? But Jesus kept looking around to see who had done it. Then the woman, knowing that what had happened to her, she came, fell at his feet, and trembling with fear, she told him the whole truth. And he, Jesus, said to her, daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and be freed from your suffering. If the only woman, the only person in our gospel accounts, Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and it's in all three stories, it's the only time Jesus ever called a woman daughter. Are you a daughter? Are you a son? Are you a child of God? Was this an interruption? He's on his way to raise the girl to life. He's on his way at the request, weeping, crying, beseeching, pleading, father of a girl. He's on his way. Interruption. Is it an interruption? Can you ever really interrupt it? Jesus who loves you so much. No matter what your problems, no matter how insignificant or little it might seem to other people. For you, it's a major problem. You can never interrupt Jesus because he loves you so much. She was desperate. She was socially unacceptable as long as she had this hemorrhage. She couldn't go to the synagogue. She couldn't go to the temple. People avoided her at the marketplace. Nobody would. She had a discharge of blood from her body year after year after year. Loneliness. How alone she spent. And she spent all her money. She had to have had some money to go to doctors. Do you not have to have money or access to money or something to go to a doctor? Of course. But she went to doctor after doctor, seeking some kind of help. And she got poorer and poorer and poorer, with no help at all. She spent everything she had for a remedy that was in vain. And then she heard about Jesus. How important is it for you to hear about Jesus? You might hear from a preacher in church. I hope and pray you hear today. 4th grade, little David Trimbur. Not a very nice little boy. Sometimes not a very nice big boy, right? Hush. Don't say a word. In 4th grade, I had a bad habit. Geez, I would say. Oh, geez, this. Oh, geez, that. My 4th grade teacher, Miss Barrett, took me out into the hallway. Boy, when they take you out in the hallway, in those days, it was going to be serious. She said, Dave, don't keep saying geez, because what you're doing is you're calling the name Jesus. He's the Son of God. He's the Savior. And she told me about that. And I never said that again until just now, a few minutes ago. Don't say geez. Now you say that's a little thing for a 4th grader. Not even thinking about it. But she recognized that I had a need, and she spoke to me about this. I heard at 4th grade. It didn't change me, but I heard. High school. Bigger David Trimbur, but not a nicer David Trimbur. Mother and father had divorced. And I was given a choice, and I went to Mother. Then Mother married Roy, a World War I veteran, engaged in World War I. He was a cruel man in many ways. Tried to assault me sexually on more than one occasion. He was an alcoholic, frequently drunk, and assisted her to become in that same condition. And I was so miserable in those years in high school. Couldn't stand him. Felt very lonely. Mr. Hedrick, a Methodist, high school biology teacher, called me aside one day and read scripture to me and told me about Jesus, a Savior. He planted another seed. You're having seeds planted all the time when you hear about Jesus. And you hear about it from many places. Television, radio, music, your neighbors, church members, preachers. You hear about Jesus. And it can have a seed planted in your heart. It didn't change me at that time. But the seed was there. And God, through the Holy Spirit, began to germinate that seed and nourish that seed. So that on that day, when another man in the service of the army told me about Jesus, and it clicked, and it made a heard about Jesus, but now she begins to act on it. When you hear of Jesus, when you hear a sermon, when you hear a song, will you hear a special number sung in church? And it begins to change you. It is a miracle. And so it was in this woman. We don't know who told her. Could have been a relative, a friend, a neighbor, a stranger. We don't know. But someone told her about Jesus, and that's what you're about and what I'm about. We need to go out and let other people know who and what and why Jesus is, because she was desperate. There are many desperate people all around us every day. We need to tell them about Jesus. But she had a determination along with her desperation. She was not going to let anybody stop her. Around Jesus is a crowd of people, pushing, pressing, going on their way to Capernaum, going on his way to do a great miracle. And yet she said, I will not be denied. And she pushes against them and exercised her faith and broke through the crowd to get to Jesus. Sometimes you have to get through the crowd to get to Jesus. Sometimes we let the crowd in the church block us from Jesus. Sometimes we let a preacher block us from Jesus. Sometimes we have to exercise our faith, push, press, and make it happen. Salvation is wholly of God, but it does depend on you to press on and to push through the crowd. And Jesus always knows. He always knows when power goes out of him. He always knows when virtue goes out of him. He always knows when something has happened in your life. And even right now, where you sit or where I stand, Jesus will know when power has come forth from him to us. He always knows when you touch him. He always knows when you're reaching out. He always knows when you're pushing through the crowd. He always knows when you're coming to Jesus. He knows that. But he expected her to do something. He expects you to do something. He expects me to do something. He expects a public affirmation of faith. That's why we have an invitation. That's why we invite people to make a stand. Come and let it be known that Christ has healed and helped you. A public affirmation is always expected from us. No such thing as an interruption of Jesus. No such thing as a private, secret miracle in your life. If he's working in your life, let other people know it. Show other people. Take your stand. Make a stand. And let others know that you've been blessed. Stuart Hamlin. Stuart Hamlin, the musician, he died in March of 1989. Before he died, he lived in Los Angeles, California. And Billy Graham, in 1949, was going to have a great crusade in that awesome city of Los Angeles. Stuart Hamlin was invited to come to the crusade, to come to the service. And Stuart began. And Graham preached about Jesus. And later on, Stuart Hamlin called Billy Graham up on the telephone and said, can I please come and talk to you? And he did, in private. And he accepted the Lord Jesus Christ as his personal Savior, repented of his sin, and he was a sinner. He'd been in jail several times. Drunkard, wayward way. heard of Jesus, he accepted it, made his profession of faith, made his affirmation, gave his life to Christ, and it was changed from that day forth until he wrote these lyrics. The chimes of time ring out the news. Another day is through. Someone slipped and fell. Was that someone you? You may have longed for added strength, your courage to renew. Do not be disheartened, for I have news for you. It is no secret what God can do. What he's done for others, he'll do for you. With arms wide open, he'll pardon you. It is no secret what God can do right now in your life. Number 470, the invitation to you to make good decision to affirm your faith, to let others know that you have accepted Christ